Welcome to another episode of Extreme Expat Stories of Thailand. Listen up. What I'm about to tell you might save your life, or at least your bank account. My name's Bob. I'm 79, and I'm emailing you from a subsidized studio in Phoenix where the aircon coughs hotter than I do. My feet still ache from infections that almost killed me, and believe it or not, I'm one of the lucky ones. 6 months ago, I woke up on Bangkok concrete with my shoes missing, my wallet gone, and a waterlogged paperback thriller lying beside me. My feet were wrapped in filthy bandages I tied myself, swollen, leaking, and smelling like a warning I refused to hear. I went to Thailand thinking I'd retire, fall in love, and die somewhere warm. Instead, I almost died in an alley off Sukhumvit Road. So, if you're dreaming about a cheap paradise, a young girlfriend, or a final adventure under palm trees, you need to hear every word of this, because I'm the ghost at the feast. This story they leave out of the brochures. 3 years ago, I was 76 and sitting pretty. Not wealthy, let's be clear, but comfortable. About 47,000 US dollars in savings, a modest social security check, and a one-bedroom apartment in Tucson, Arizona that felt like a cell phone coffin. My ex-wife had remarried. My kids were busy with their own lives. I'd wake up every morning to crushing heat, astronomical medical bills, and the slow realization that America had no use for old men like me. Then I discovered Udon Thani. You won't find it on those top 10 Thailand destinations listicles. It's not the neon chaos of Bangkok or the beach bro paradise of Phuket. Udon Thani is a mid-sized city in Thailand's northeast, Isan country, that the US military practically built during Vietnam. We had an airbase there, infrastructure, history. The place has been crawling with foreigners for 50 years, and the expat forums made it sound like the promised land. Guys were posting photos of morning jogs around Nong Pradak Lake, talking about 75-cent street noodles that tasted better than anything back home, bragging about living like minor royalty on 900 US dollars a month while their American counterparts were choosing between prescriptions and groceries. The forum posts all said the same thing. In Thailand, your money goes further. The women are beautiful. The people respect their elders. You can finally live the life you deserve. That last part hooked me like a fish. I spent my whole life being invisible, working construction, paying taxes, doing everything right. And for what? To die alone in Arizona with a checking account that couldn't cover a decent funeral? Screw that. I booked a one-way ticket to Bangkok and a connecting flight to Udon Thani. Landed in late 2022 with 2 suitcases, a heart full of hope, and absolutely no idea what was waiting for me. I met Lanka exactly 19 days after touching down in Udon Thani. She was working as an elementary school teacher. Respectable job, decent English, early 50s but looked 40. Not some 20-year-old bar girl with dollar signs in her eyes. At least, that's what I told myself when I was lying awake at 3 a.m. ignoring every red flag my gut was screaming. We met at the Trung Sri Muang night market. I was fumbling with baht notes like an idiot tourist, trying to buy grilled chicken from a vendor who spoke zero English. Lanka appeared out of nowhere, laughing at my confusion in this warm, maternal way that made me feel seen. She helped me order. We walked around the market together. She explained what every food stall was selling, taught me how to say thank you, and by the end of the night, I had her line ID and a date scheduled for the weekend. 3 weeks later, we were exclusive. 2 months after that, married in a small Buddhist ceremony that her family organized. They slaughtered a pig. There was endless whiskey. Someone's uncle gave a rambling toast about karma and faith that I pretended to understand. I know what you're thinking. Another desperate old fool falls for a first woman who shows him attention. And yeah, you're right. But you have to understand what loneliness does to a man. You have to understand what it feels like when someone laughs at your jokes again, when someone holds your hand in public, when someone makes you feel like you're not just waiting around to die. Lanka did that for me. She made me feel alive. One night, maybe 4 months into our relationship, we were sitting on the balcony of my rented apartment. The air was thick and humid, cicadas screaming in the darkness. She lit incense, sandalwood, and something floral I couldn't name, and started telling me about Manak. It's Thailand's most famous ghost story, she explained, her face illuminated by the orange glow of the incense. Nak was a woman whose husband went to war. She died in childbirth while he was gone, but her love was so strong that her spirit stayed behind. When her husband came home, she pretended to still be alive. They lived together as husband and wife, even though she was dead. What happened? I asked. Lanka's smile turned sad. Eventually, the truth came out. But by then, Nak had killed everyone who tried to separate them. Her love became obsession. Her obsession became violence. She blew out the incense and kissed my cheek. True love never dies, Bob. Remember that. I should have asked about the killing part. I should have wondered why she was telling me a story about a love so desperate it turned murderous. But I was intoxicated by the romance of it all, the mystery, the idea that I'd finally found someone whose love was powerful enough to transcend everything. Turns out I was right, just not in the way I thought. About 7 months into our marriage, Lanka came to me with an opportunity that sounded too good to refuse. Her family owned a piece of land on the outskirts of Udon Thani, about 30 minutes from the city center, right on the edge of agricultural country. The land had an old wooden house on it, half collapsed but full of potential. If we renovated it, Lanka explained, we could turn it into a retirement home, a place to grow old together, away from the noise and pollution of the city. My brothers will help with construction, she promised. My mother will help with design. It will be a family project, our forever home. I was sold immediately. This wasn't just about real estate. This was about belonging, about building something permanent with the woman I loved, cementing myself into her family, her culture, her world. I started writing checks. It began reasonably enough. Materials for the foundation, $2,000. Labor costs for the first month, $1,500. Permits and fees, $800. But every week brought new expenses, new emergencies that required immediate payment or everything would grind to a halt. The contractor needed a new truck because his old one broke down. And how could he transport materials without it? Lanka's mother needed emergency dental surgery that wasn't covered by government insurance. Her younger brother's motorcycle taxi business was failing, and if we didn't loan him money, he'd lose everything and dishonor the family. Every story was urgent. Every request came with tears or anger or manipulation so subtle I didn't even realize it was happening. You don't trust me? Lanka would ask whenever I hesitated. You think my family's lying? In Thailand, family take care of family. If you can't understand that, maybe you don't understand Thailand at all. So I kept paying, kept signing documents written entirely in Thai that Lanka would translate for me in vague, reassuring terms. Kept believing that I was investing in our future, not funding my own destruction. Here's what I didn't know until it was far too late. The land deed was in my name only. Not Lanka's, not her family's, mine. And because I'm a foreigner in Thailand, because Thai law prohibits non-citizens from owning land outright, I unknowingly signed documents that made me personally liable for loans I didn't understand, on property I couldn't legally own, with debt collectors who didn't give a damn about my ignorance. By month 13 of construction, I'd burned through 32,000 US dollars, more than two-thirds of my life savings. When I finally sat Lanka down and demanded to see the actual paperwork, the real contracts, the actual ownership documents, she cried for 3 hours straight, said her family was insulted, said Thai law was complicated and I wouldn't understand anyway, said she'd sort it out after the house was finished. We never sorted it out. The house was never finished. Around this time, I started hearing the horror stories. There was this guy who showed up at the Tuesday morning expat coffee meetup at Coffee Way. American dude named Dennis, maybe 75 years old, with the hollowed out look of someone who'd seen hell and barely crawled back. Dennis told us about his Thai girlfriend in Chiang Rai who'd convinced him to build a resort-style house on her family's land. They'd been together for 2 years. He'd spent $80,000 on construction. When Dennis suggested they get married, she suddenly ghosted him, changed her phone number. When he showed up at the house, her brothers were living in it. They threatened to call the police if he ever came back. Dennis had no legal recourse. The house he built with his retirement money now belonged to her family. He was living in a $200 a month room in Udon Thani, picking up English tutoring gigs for 150 baht an hour, trying to survive on a social security check that barely covered rent. I thought I was smarter than the other guys, Dennis said, staring into his coffee like it held answers. I thought my girl was different. They all think that. I remember feeling sorry for him, feeling superior, thinking that's not going to happen to me. Lanka actually loves me. We're building a life together. Then there were the news stories that kept piling up like cordwood. An Australian man in Pattaya beaten to death by his Thai wife's cousins over a property dispute. A British tourist stabbed 9 times outside a 7-Eleven in Bangkok over a 100 baht taxi fare argument. An elderly American in Chiang Mai poisoned with rat poison mixed into his dinner by a girlfriend who wanted his life insurance payout. These weren't herbal legends. These were real people with real obituaries and real families back home wondering what the hell happened. But I was arrogant. I was in love, and I genuinely believed that my situation was different. I was wrong. Year 2 in Thailand. That's when everything disintegrated. The house construction stopped completely. Workers stopped showing up. Lanka stopped visiting the property. When I asked about progress, she'd get angry, screaming matches about how I didn't appreciate her efforts, how I was ungrateful, how Western men always thought they knew better than Thai women. The fights got nastier, more frequent. She'd disappear for days at a time with vague explanations about visiting her mother or helping a sick aunt. Then my wallet vanished. I'd left it on the kitchen counter when I went to shower. When I came back, gone. I asked Lanka if she'd seen it. She exploded, accused me of calling her a thief, cried so hysterically that I ended up apologizing to her for even asking. 3 days later, I found the wallet stuffed behind the couch, empty. My ATM cards, my credit card, 8,000 baht in cash, even my Arizona driver's license, all missing. That's when I started noticing other things disappearing. My laptop, the gold chain I'd bought for myself in Bangkok, the expensive electric razor my daughter had sent me for my birthday, all gone. I was being robbed by my own wife, in my own home. And she was so good at gaslighting me that I kept questioning whether I'd misplaced things myself. The final explosion came on a Wednesday in March of 2025. Lanka announced she needed to go to Bangkok for a family emergency. Her sister was sick. She'd be gone for a week, maybe 2. She packed a suitcase, kissed my forehead like I was a child, and left. She was gone for 3 weeks. When she finally came back, something had fundamentally changed. She was cold, distant. She'd stroll through her phone for hours, smiling at messages she wouldn't let me see. She stopped cooking, stopped sleeping in our bed. Stop pretending to give a damn about me. One night, I'd had enough. I confronted her directly. Did you ever love me? I asked. Was any of this real? Or was it always just about the money? Lanka looked at me for a long time. Her face was completely neutral. No anger, no sadness, no guilt, just nothing. I think I made a big mistake marrying you, she said flatly. I thought you were different, or you're just like all the other Farang, selfish, suspicious, always thinking Thai people are trying to trick you. And then she went back to scrolling through her phone. She left 2 days later, took her clothes, her jewelry, everything valuable she could carry, left behind a handwritten note that said, "Sorry for everything. I need time to think. We'll contact you soon." She never did. I tried calling, blocked. Tried messaging online, blocked. I went to her mother's house. They pretended not to understand me and closed the door in my face. Lanka had vanished like smoke, taking my money, my dignity, and any illusion I had about paradise. By April 2025, I was financially destroyed. The house in Udon Thani, couldn't sell it. The ownership situation was such a legal nightmare that no one, not lawyers, not real estate agents, not other expats, would touch it. The debt I'd taken on, still in my name, still growing with interest. Debt collectors started calling, then threatening, then showing up at my apartment. I couldn't pay rent anymore. Got evicted in late April. Moved to Bangkok thinking maybe I could find work, get back on my feet, figure something out. I was 79 years old, diabetic, no work permit, barely functioning Thai. Who the hell was going to hire me? For a few weeks, I survived on desperation. Helped other expats move their furniture for 500 baht, tutored English illegally for 200 baht an hour in coffee shops, always looking over my shoulder for immigration police. Tried selling my blood plasma, but got rejected because of my age and medical conditions. It wasn't enough, not even close. That's how I ended up homeless in Bangkok. At first, it was supposed to be temporary. Just one night sleeping rough because I'd missed rent on my 1,500 baht hostel room. I figured I'd sort it out in the morning, hit the ATM, make some calls, fix the problem. But the ATM said insufficient funds. The calls went unanswered. There was no problem to fix. I was just done. One night became three. Three became a week. A week became 2 months of sleeping on cardboards and alleys off Sukhumvit, clutching that water-damaged thriller novel like it was the last piece of my old life. Bangkok at 3 a.m. is a different world. It's not the tourist Bangkok or the Instagram Bangkok. It's the Bangkok of street sweepers and security guards and homeless people like me. Invisible people that their city pretends don't exist. Thai people were surprisingly kind. A 7-Eleven worker would sometimes give me expired sandwiches. An older woman running a street cart once paid for antibiotics when I had infection. I was too proud to accept most charity. These people were struggling themselves. How could I take from them? Every morning I'd wash my face in the bathroom of a Tesco Lotus. Every afternoon I'd sit in the air conditioning of a mall until security kicked me out. Every night I'd find a new doorway, a new alley, a new piece of concrete to call home. And every single night I think about Lanka, about the house that was supposed to be ours, about the life I'd imagined and the nightmare I'd bought instead. The motorcycle hit me on a Thursday morning in late May. I was crossing Asok Road, moving slowly because my feet hurt so goddamn much. I didn't see the bike until it was too late. The handlebars caught my hip, sent me spinning, and I went down hard on the pavement. My walking cane clattered into traffic. A wheel rolled over my left foot. Someone called an ambulance. I remember lying there on the hot concrete, staring up at Bangkok's perpetually gray sky, thinking, this is how it ends. This is how I die. The ambulance took me to a public hospital. They didn't admit me. No insurance, no money, no reason to waste a bed. Instead, they bandaged my feet right there on the floor of the emergency room. A nurse who looked about 16 years old wrapped them in gauze, handed me a prescription I couldn't afford to fill, and told me to rest and elevate. Then they sent me back to the streets. Here's what they don't tell you about diabetes. When you're old and homeless and your blood sugar is out of control, your body stops healing. Cuts don't close. Infections don't clear. Your feet, especially your feet, start to rot from the inside out. Within a week, my feet were swollen to twice their normal size. The skin turned purple and black in patches. Fluid leaked through the bandages. The smell was unholy, like meat gone bad in the summer heat. I couldn't walk, could barely crawl. I just lay in an alley off Soy 33, waiting to die. The pain was beyond description. It wasn't just physical, it was existential. It was the pain of knowing I'd thrown away everything in a fantasy. The pain of knowing my kids were right. The pain of realizing that I'd die alone in a foreign country that had chewed me up and spit me out. That's when Nataya found me. She was a volunteer with Bangkok Helping Hands, an organization that helps destitute expats who'd fallen through the cracks. Older Thai woman, maybe 60, with kind eyes and no nonsense energy. She took one look at my feet and immediately started making calls. Within 2 hours, she had me at a charity clinic where a doctor cleaned and properly dressed my wounds. Within a day, she'd contacted the US Embassy. Within a week, she'd arranged for a medical evacuation flight back to the States. I fought her at first. Pride, shame, the irrational belief that I could still salvage something from this disaster. But Nataya wasn't having it. "You will die here if you stay," she told me bluntly. "Your feet are badly infected. You need surgery. You need dialysis. You need care that Thailand cannot give you for free. Is this how you want to die? Alone on Sukhumvit Road with no one to claim your body?" She was right. Of course, she was right. The US Embassy expedited emergency travel documents. My daughter, the one I hadn't spoken to in 8 months, wired money for the flight. Bangkok Helping Hands donated the rest. On June 3rd of 2025, I boarded a medical evacuation flight from Bangkok. I gave away what little I had left. Some clothes, a phone with a cracked screen, that goddamn thriller novel. Closed my Thai bank account with 47 baht remaining. Said goodbye to the country that had promised me paradise and delivered hell. As the plane lifted off, I looked down at Bangkok's sprawl, the glittering high-rises, the snaking expressways, the brown river cutting through it all. I thought about Lanka, about Manak, the ghost who loved so much she couldn't let go. I finally understood that legend. Sometimes the most dangerous thing in the world is refusing to see the truth, even when it's killing you. I'm back in Phoenix now, living in subsidized housing. My feet are healing, but I'll probably never walk right again. The diabetes is under control thanks to Medicare. But the damage is done. My kids are trying. My youngest daughter lets me visit on weekends. My son sends money sometimes, though I can tell he resents it. They want to forgive me, but they're also angry. Angry that I hid the truth for so long. Angry that I chose Thailand over them. Angry that I am a burden in my final years instead of a source of pride. I don't blame them. People ask me all the time, "How did this happen? How did you lose yourself?" And here's what I need you to understand. I'm not special. My story isn't unique. There are thousands of men like me, older Western men who go to Thailand chasing cheap living and exotic romance. Some make it work, many struggle. And some of us, guys like me, like Dennis, like the countless expats who've ended up dead or broke or broken, become cautionary tales. We're the dark side of the Thailand dream, the ones who trusted too much, loved too blindly, ignored every warning sign because we were so desperate to believe in something beautiful. Let me be brutally honest about the power dynamics. When you're a 70-something Western man with money dating a 40-something or 50-something Thai woman with none, the relationship is transactional from minute one. Maybe she has real feelings for you, maybe she doesn't. But when survival is on the line, sentiment takes a backseat to pragmatism. I'm not saying all Thai women are scammers. I'm not saying cross-cultural relationships can't work. I'm saying that power imbalance is real, and it colors every interaction whether you want to admit it or not. Here's what else they don't tell you. The legal system is designed to screw you. Foreigners can't own land in Thailand. Any property investment requires Thai partners or convoluted legal structures that leave you vulnerable. If things go south, you have almost zero recourse. The courts don't care. The police don't care. You're just another stupid farang who should have known better. The isolation will destroy you. When you're 8,000 miles from family, separated by time zones and cultural gaps, bad decisions compound at a terrifying speed. There's no one to reality check your choices. No safety net when everything collapses. You're alone in ways you can't even comprehend until it's too late. The violence is real. Thailand markets itself as the land of smiles, but people get murdered there over taxi fare disputes, over bar tabs, over perceived disrespect or property disagreements. The news is full of expats who ended up dead, beaten, or robbed at knife point. I survived. Dennis is still alive, barely scraping by in Udon Thani. But I know at least 3 other expats from my Tuesday coffee group who are dead now. Heart attacks, accidents, sudden disappearances that never get fully explained. Or the statistics that don't make it into the tourism brochures. Before I left for Thailand, my son confronted me. We were sitting in my apartment in Tucson, and he was damn near begging me not to go. I told him he was being paranoid, told him he was jealous of my happiness, told him that for once in my life, I was going to do something for myself instead of living according to everyone else's expectations. We didn't speak for 7 months after that. By the time we reconnected, I was already financially ruined and too ashamed to admit it. He was right about everything. I'm not telling you to never go to Thailand. I'm not telling you to never date Thai women. I'm not even telling you to abandon your retirement dreams. What I'm telling you is this: be smarter than I was. Don't hand over your life savings to someone you've known for less than a year. Don't sign contracts in languages you can't read. Don't trust promises that sound too good to be true. Don't cut yourself off from family and friends who actually give a damn about your well-being. Don't believe your love story is the special one that defies all the horror stories. It's not. It won't be. Keep emergency funds in accounts only you can access. Consult lawyers before making property investments. Maintain ties to your home country. And for God's sake, if you see red flags, pay attention to them. Because paradise is a marketing term, not a reality. And the cost of learning that lesson the hard way might be everything you have. Some nights I still dream about Lanka. In the dreams, we're back on that balcony in Udon Thani, incense burning, her hand in mine. She's telling me about Manak again, the woman whose love was so strong she couldn't let go, even in death. But in the dreams, I'm the ghost. I'm Manak, clinging desperately to a fantasy that was dead from the beginning, haunting the ruins of a life that was never real. When I wake up, I'm in this subsidized Phoenix apartment that smells like cheap carpet and defeat. My feet throb, my heart aches. I've got medical bills I'll never pay off and a future that looks bleaker than hell. But I'm alive. I'm not rotting on a Bangkok street. I'm not buried in some unmarked grave. I'm not another news headline about an expat who trusted the wrong person. I survived my Thai nightmare. Barely. The question is, will you be as lucky? 3 years ago, I had savings, dignity, and hope. Today, I have none of those things. But I have this story. And if it saves even one person from making my catastrophic mistakes, even if it makes even one desperate retiree stop and think about before wiring money to a stranger or signing documents they can't read, then maybe these 3 years of hell were worth something. Stay smart, stay safe, protect yourself, and remember, the Thailand they sell you in advertisements is not the Thailand that exists when you're old, broke, and alone. That's the Thailand I learned about. That's the Thailand that nearly killed me. Don't let it kill you too. Bob.